Hi folks, I'm Hub Arkush for Pro Football Weekly, and it's time now for the Fantasy Ticker. Every week we get you up to speed on players at each key position you might want to get in your lineup. For that I welcome in our senior editor, Mike Wilkening. Wilkie is also our fantasy expert. Let's start at quarterback. Mike, who's the guy you've got to get in your lineup, maybe as your playoffs are starting this weekend?
The Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson has a lot of appeal. 5 games of multiple TD passes in a row, and he's got some favorable matchups down the stretch. Arizona, I think, is a good one for him this week at home, at Buffalo the following week. To me, when you look at waiver wires where guys are widely available, he's one of the best players available, period, at any position.
All right, now it's awfully hard to find a running back at this point in the season, but you've got a guy you think maybe people should take a look at.
This is a first for me, Hub. I'm proud to say I've never suggested a player with more special teams tackles for his career than rushing yards. But here we are with MONTELL Owens of the Jaguars. He's going to start in Week 14. And if you're a starting tailback in this league, you have fantasy value, and you've got fantasy value if you're facing the Jets. They've allowed the 4th most rushing yards in the league. So I just think MONTELL Owens is a big kind of flex league sort of proposition. To me, he makes a lot of sense.
How about wide receiver? Anybody out there maybe you can grab to get some help?
You know, Mike Thomas, the Lions, is interesting to me. They've had a lot of injuries and other sort of problems at wide receiver. Nate Burleson's out for the season. Ryan Broyles, unfortunately, another ACL tear. And Titus Young is persona non grata with them at this point. So it's really Mike Thomas or bust in terms of options opposite of Calvin Johnson. Now, certainly Calvin Johnson's going to get a lot of targets. 20 targets last week, for example. I mean, he's going to get the bulk of the opportunities, but Thomas is going to get a few chances himself, and I think he's someone that deserves to be picked up.
You know, Mike, tight end is an interesting spot. When the Indianapolis Colts drafted Andrew Luck and then grabbed his teammate Cody Fleemer, everybody was in a big hurry to get Fleemer, but you're saying maybe there's somebody better on that roster.
Yeah, I think Fleener is a guy you could consider. I hit a touchdown catch last week, and I think that's going to make him all the rage on waiver wires. But when you look a little closer, Dwayne Allen's a guy that played pretty well in Week 13 as well. 54 receiving yards at a long catch, and he played 56 snaps compared to just 23 for Fleener. So for me, I want Allen over Fleener.
What about a defense? You going to make a switch this week? Who should you go with?
Well, a lot of owners have gotten to this point playing kind of the waiver wire roulette in terms of defenses, and I think this week the real stops on Minnesota. That's the defense I would want. Against Chicago, we know their pass protection issues. They're at home. It's a must-win game. I think it'll be loud there. I just tend to think there's a little bit more upside for this Vikings defense this week than others.
All right, that'll do it for this week's Fantasy Ticker. For all the best in fantasy football information or the best news, notes, and analysis, everything you need to enjoy the National Football League, you want to stay right where you are at ProFootballWeekly.com.